Hello, my name is Tim, and I'm here to do a Backdrop module tutorial on a brand new module that just came out today called Tocbot. Tocbot is Table of Contents bot. It's a module that automatically creates a block that will create a table of contents for a really long, like blog post or page or article based on the HTML headers in the page. Anyways, I'll show it to you in a minute. Again, my name is Tim Erickson. I work with Triplo. We do Drupal and Backdrop in particular, but other things as well. If you need help with any Backdrop projects, including Drupal 7 to Backdrop upgrades, let us know. You can find me on Twitter at St. Paul Tim and tim@triplo.co. Let's get started. Again, the Tocbot module just came out today. If we go to backdrop.org, backdropcms.org, and scroll down, modules are listed in order of most recent update or release. And it looks like there's like 5 or 6 modules that got updates today or releases, including the Tocbot module. If we click on it here, there's a little bit of information on the page. You can also go to GitHub and check the issue queue, see how it's doing. I'm going to go ahead and enable this module. Actually, let me say first that this is just an out-of-the-box Backdrop installation. I think we're on version 1.14 at the time of this. Yep, 1.41 at the time of this video. The only thing I've done is I have added a demo page. This is a page content type with a whole bunch of text and some headers. And I've done 2 different types of headers. I've done some H3s that I call chapters and some H4s that I called sections, chapter and section. And it's pretty long, and the idea is like maybe you'd like a table of contents for a page like this. So all we have to do is, if you've installed the module, which there's instructions on backdrop.org, backdropcms.org on how to do that. I'm going to go to the under functionality to list modules. Type in Toc, there we go, it pops up. We'll enable the module. Once enabled, the module is going to have some configuration settings that will be available here under configuration. I think we're ready now. Configuration, content authoring, and here's Tocbot. So I think for the most part, you don't have to change these. I'll talk about a couple of them. The big one I'm going to change is from page outline. I'm going to change that to table of contents. I like that better. You should know this one, the minimum number of headings. The table of contents will not appear unless this number of headings appear. Like whatever you decide, we've decided that headings could be H2 through H6. So there has to be at least 3 H2 through H6s before the table of contents will appear. We don't want it showing up if there's just one, header, or maybe even 2. I could go ahead and change this to 5. It won't matter for our example. I think that's all I'm going to do, actually, for now. I'm going to hit save. The other thing I have to do to get this working is we have to place a block here in our right sidebar. And if we go to structure layouts, this is a page node, and page nodes are going to be displayed by the default layout, because quick review, Backdrop sort of goes down the list in order and would apply this layout to anything at admin dashboard. The home page has the boxed in layout, and the default layout for everything else is Moscone flipped. Moscone flipped is great for this demonstration, and I recommend that when you first try this, you do it with a layout that gives you a body and a sidebar. It could be either a left or a right sidebar, but right sidebar works really well. So I'm going to go ahead and edit. We're going to manage the blocks in our default layout, and we're going to scroll down here to content, and here's the sidebar. We just click add block. Again, if we type TOC, there's the block that's been provided by the module. We didn't have to do anything to create that. Just want to add that, make sure it's there in the sidebar, and hit save. Okay, now if we go to our demo page and we click on it, boom, right away, it's working. There we go. We have a table of contents. And we're going to notice a couple of things out of the box, that it does stick by default. And also, it's kind of showing you where in the table of contents you are. So it's showing us that we're in Chapter 1. Oh, we've reached Chapter 1, Section 2, Section 3. And it's also collapsing chapters that we're not looking at. As we get to Chapter 3, it pops open. I originally placed this block up above the content, and this behavior isn't really helpful. In fact, it was a bit confusing in that scenario. So that's why I think it's good to experiment with this on the sidebar first. Then if you choose to put a table of contents at the top or bottom or something weird, you can do that and you'll understand it better. Anyways, as we can scroll all the way through, of course, we can also navigate through our document using the links provided here. We can go to Chapter 3, Section 2. It's a really cool module. Let's just do one or two other quick settings that might be helpful for you out of the box. First of all, if you don't like this sort of collapsible behavior, again, content authoring, Tocbot, we can, so I recommend taking some time to read through these different classes. The way that the configuration for this module works is that there are certain classes that you add for different kinds of behaviors. And a more experienced developer can modify these to their own theming. But if you're a beginner at this, I recommend just using all the default classes. But you can do it like this. If you don't want that collapsing behavior, we can just remove this is collapsed. So I'm just going to delete that, go down to the bottom and save it. And we'll go back to our home page, hit demo, and now we'll notice that all of the chapters are showing at the start, and as we scroll, they all stay open. They don't really change. We do have one thing that seems to happen. The width of this seems to be changing just a little bit when we're at the top of the page, so that the chapters go to 2 lines, and everywhere else they're 1. That's something you would have to play with your theme. I think setting a little more margin or a little more width in this column would help. And it's just going to depend, too, on how wide your headings are, I guess. So that's it for that feature. The one other thing is we notice that it's the stickiness here isn't very smooth, right? So I'm going to do one last thing, which is through experimentation, I've realized, let's see if I remember, there is a fixed sidebar offset, and this is, it's right now set to auto, and this is any number that you want to set where you want that to start sticking. And I don't know, I'm going to try actually a high number to start with, like 600 pixels. And this is basically, a pixel thing. We go home, go back to our page, and this means it's going to get almost all the way, well, got quite a ways off the page before it sort of snapped into place. Not what we wanted. Through experimentation, I'm pretty sure that about 350 is where we want to be. So I'm going to go back and change that to about 350 pixels, hit save. Boom, pretty close. It looks like we could go like 360 maybe, and that would be smoother. Let me try one more. If you know a little bit of JavaScript and or CSS, you can also tweak this. So you can move that block around as well. Like I say, you could put your table of contents above your content. Lots of different ways you could use it. I recommend giving this module a try. If you find any problems, it's a brand new module. If we go to the Backdrop page, we're going to see there's 0 active installs. Well, that's because it's been out for less than 24 hours. So that wouldn't, even if somebody had installed it by now, it wouldn't show up here. But if you find any bugs or have any feedback, please come to the GitHub page and report your issues. I reported one as I was practicing for this demo, a little quirky behavior I found. I know, I forgot to acknowledge, almost forgot to acknowledge the author of this module, Olaf Grabinski. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Olaf. Olaf did ask me to help test this a little bit over the last couple of days, but he did all the work. And great job, Olaf, in bringing this, I think, useful module to the Backdrop contrib space. Thanks, everybody. That's it for today.